And, they'll invite us over for dinner. Not all of us, of course, but, they'll take turns, inviting a handful of people to come join them for dinner. And they're about 2 miles away.
So there's a little bit of socializing that goes on.
Yes. It's another way to, I imagine, for them, with only 9 of them, seeing fresh faces is even more important than it is over here. So it's nice, one night a week they'll invite some Americans over to come say hi.
As a matter of curiosity, are you married, Mike?
I'm single.
Single. That's good. When you told your mom and dad, listen, I'm going to go be a chef at McMurdo Station in Antarctica, what did they say to you?
Well, I think Mom's face pretty much went blank. I think my family is somewhat used to it. I think Antarctica was a bit of a surprise. I hadn't really told anybody since I was about 8 or 9 years old. I had wanted to come to Antarctica, and I, through friends of friends of friends, I heard about a chance of maybe going there and working. So I thought, great, and I kind of kept it on a back burner. But about 2 years ago at Christmas, I mentioned that hopefully this time next year I'll be in Antarctica, and people were a little surprised. But I think they've stopped being surprised. I'm the sort that, I was living and working in Washington, D.C., and, changed careers and moved to Santa Fe, New Mexico to become a chef, and then moved to Mount Shasta to try something a little different. And then, they've realized that if there's something I really want to do, I'm probably going to pursue it.
Well, how does one go about getting a job down there? I mean, is it like you pick up the newspaper near Mount Shasta and it says, job opening, rare opportunity, come south?
Well, actually, no. Although in the Denver area, it was advertised a little more heavily in the newspapers. The civilians here, actually everybody here now is civilian, they work for a government contractor who advertised in the Denver area. I just happened to have a friend who had a landlord who was one of the electricians down here. And as soon as I heard the word Antarctica, I immediately started asking questions and found out what to do. And it took me about 1.5 years. It's a pretty rigorous application process. And if you make it through the normal job interview type things and the resume screening and the reference checks, then it begins a physical screening. You've got to be physically fit to endure the conditions here. So it's a pretty prolonged process. But about 1.5 years later, I was on my way.
What are the accommodations like? For example, as chef, do you have your own room? Do you share a room with somebody, or is it like a barracks?
Well, it's not because I'm chef, but I do have my own room over the winter. Because the population is smaller over the winter, and because they are aware that it's a stressful time of year. Wintering is considered, the difficult time. Although there's more going on in the summer, the stresses of winter are greater. So folks get their own rooms, and that's nice. In the summertime, we all share rooms.
Do you, for example, in your room, I take it at times the wind really howls down there, doesn't it?
It does. It's also the windiest continent. We are the highest, driest, coldest, and windiest continent on Earth.
So what might be a typical high windstorm for you there?
High, I'm just looking at the Weather Channel here. We're at about 40 knots right now. High, I would imagine, I've seen it as high as 80. And that is when the weather conditions start going down. They have a system here where they have condition 3, condition 2, and condition 1. And condition 3 can be anything from summertime shorts and T-shirts weather, which for us down here is 20s and 30s, sunshine and no wind. But today, with 40-knot winds and minus 60 wind chill, we're still at condition 3. So that's a pretty broad condition. Condition 3 is you're pretty much safe going outside. Condition 2 is you can't leave the base without checking out with the emergency services people and taking a radio and taking other people with you. You can't leave alone.
Wow.
Condition 1 is where they actually tie up ropes between the buildings so you can find your way because visibility is 0.
You've got to have ropes between the buildings?
During condition 1, there's there's no visibility and the winds can blow you off your feet.
So, oh my God.
They give you a rope to hold on to. And that's very rare. I think it's been a couple of years since we've had a Condition 1 here at McMurdo.
Of course, when they show a movie about it, it's always Condition 1. I've actually seen that where they had ropes between the buildings, because otherwise it really would be possible to get blown around and die trying to get from one building to another.
Sure, or just lost. If the visibility is that poor, and there are times when you can't see from one building to another. If you start walking in the wrong direction, you could be very long in discovering that you're not headed to the building you thought you were.
When you look out your window, other than being able to see the water, is everything white?
It's starting to get that way again. Of course, the buildings are various shades of gray and brown and olive drab. The water can be kind of a grayish blue to a silvery color.
Huh.
The best times, though, are sunsets. And as I mentioned earlier, the things happen a little more elongated here. Those 4-month-long days and those 4-month-long nights. But this time of year, when the sun is coming up and going down, we get to a point in the year where the sunset will last for 4 or 5 hours.
That's why my screen is moving so slowly here.
It is. And I have an incredible view of the Royal Society mountain range, which is a coastal range over on the continent. And at sunset, the colors are magnificent. The pastels of oranges and pinks and purples against the white and the blue. And when the sky is clear, it's incredibly blue.
Oh, by the way, how's the ultraviolet there?
That is one of the other survival things they tell us about, is lots of sunscreen.
Lots of sunscreen, like right. Number 1,000 or something.
Well, I went out for my field safety training, and I was wearing SPF 30. I obviously didn't put it on often enough because I came back with one of the worst sunburns. Because not only are you getting the UV rays, but everything around you is reflecting it back at you.
That's right. Mike, we're out of time. Bless your heart, all the way from McMurdo Station in Antarctica. I've never done this before. A commercial first. Mike, thank you.
You're very welcome, Art.
And good morning. We'll be right back. Wow, all the way from Antarctica.
Tonight's program originally aired March 23rd, 2000.
Top of the morning, everybody. I don't think anybody's ever done that before. The first commercial interview, it wasn't really commercial. Well, I guess it was. It's on a commercial program of anybody in Antarctica. That was Mike, who is the chef that we interviewed for the last hour at McMurdo Station in the Antarctic, where from about now through August, nobody comes and nobody goes, because they can't. That was really something. Constantly get new experiences here. All right, well, coming up in a moment, Peter Davenport has a bit of a report for us. And then hanging on very patiently, John Myler is going to come on the air with us. He's a very, very interesting individual who is very religious, but believes they, put that in quotes, they are here. And I don't know how that's going to work out, but we're going to find out shortly. Peter Davenport in a moment. All right, actually, I've been watching my map here, which shows where the sun is with respect to McMurdo Station, and they are now in the gray area, the small gray zone, so it's getting darker there. And I imagine in a number of hours, at the rate it's moving, it's going to be completely dark as fall, and the very, very cold weather closes in, and apparently it's pretty cold. So, anyway, that was really cool. From the Antarctic now to the state of Washington, and Peter Davenport. Peter, hi.
Good evening, Art. Good evening.